Am I the a-hole for very sternly telling some dude I just met that I'm not a therapist and then just leaving the conversation? Over the weekend, I, 27 female, went over my friend's 28 male little get-together. There was only like 10 people total. At one point, I stepped outside to smoke some weeds and to just be alone. And a dude, 30s something, that I just met the same night also came out. We were chatting, trying to be quiet as to not disturb the neighbors since at this point it was 1 a.m. But then he just started laying it on me, talking about how much his life sucks and that it's good to be around people. I was just awkwardly listening to him and giving him generic answers like, ah yeah, that sucks, or things along those lines. But he kept at it, then started saying creepy ass shit like I hadn't been with a woman in 5 years, and even told me his kid has aborted because the ex didn't want to have his baby. Like, bro, I don't need to know this info. I finally finished the joint and got up and said I was going back inside, and he tried to stop me and said, I thought we were having a nice conversation, kinda hard to talk inside. And I looked at him and I said, dude, I'm not a therapist. I just came out to see my friend, the host. Like, I get you're having a rough go at it, but honestly, I kinda see why girls don't want to be around you if this is what you talk about on the first meeting. Nice meeting you though. And then I went inside. He never came back in, so I assumed he just went home. My friends texted me the morning after saying that I should have said what I said to his friend since he's apparently really dumped out now and asked for his side of the story. I tell him what was described above and he still says I should have told him that I didn't have to knock him down a few pegs since apparently it took my friend a lot of convincing to get the other dude to come out. Wanted some outside perspective here. Am I the a-hole?
NTA, as a female, you know what is best for your safety and security. It sounds like you were getting creepy vibes, and you deliberately laid it into him, so that there is no misunderstanding from you, that you are not interested in engaging him in any capacity. You may had come out as harsh, but at least he knows where you stand. Women got to be proactive with their safety. His general demeanor, especially when inching closer to my when talking about relationships, just shot off so many signals that I probably smoke the joint way too fast, so that I can just leave the conversation. Which I honestly don't really know how to deal with, as I generally only deal with other females. I'm a lesbian, and usually when guys hit on me, I'm straight up oblivious to it, but for him, my whole body was like, yo, get out fast. NTA, his behavior was cruel. He was manipulating social etiquette to put you into an uncomfortable situation. You refused to put up with that after humoring him for a while. He needs to learn to treat other people better, even if he's having a tough time of things. You also were helpful in pointing out that he should be unloading these things to a therapist. Seriously? That guy can't fool with that. What they really meant to say was, I've been conditioned to think women owe people emotional labor and niceness, no matter how they're behaving. I had an acquaintance try to pull this shit on me. He lectured me for my lack of civil discourse towards his racist friend in a FB thread. I had simply told the guy to leave me alone because I didn't want to hear his racist talking points. This fool edge thought it was my responsibility to deal with this guy and be polite. Haha. How about no? NTA. It's weird and it puts you in an uncomfortable position. You wouldn't have had to tell him all that if he hadn't stopped you trying to go back in. You're not a therapist or an emotional support person, you're a stranger, and it's uncomfortable and unfair to be locked into talking to a person that makes you uncomfortable just to spare their feelings. Your friend needs to get a fucking grip. NTA, you literally just met him and he started unloading all of his issues on you. That's completely unfair to you, especially when he started talking about relationships saying, I hadn't been with a woman in 5 years, like what? Was that in some way a pickup line? Who says that to a woman they just met, like what? I thought we were having a nice conversation. You weren't having a conversation at all. He was just talking at you because he knew you couldn't just leave as you had to finish smoking. It's a shitty and uncomfortable thing to do, and I think he knew exactly what he was doing. It's impolite to just start dumping your deepest fucking issues on a stranger who clearly isn't interested. Comfortable. NTA. Maybe your friend should have let the dude vent to him if he's so concerned for his well-being. You were polite until you were pushed. Also, from my experience with guys who whine to women they've just met about not being laid in a long time. He was trying to hit on you, and you definitely do not owe some stranger a pity screw. Tabrine Brown, famous vulnerability researcher and writer, calls this behavior floodlighting. It's not real vulnerability because it's one-sided and without the mutual trust between the participants. It is manipulation technique, frankly. The whole conversation was way too much, too soon, and about inappropriate topics. You don't have the responsibility to manage this stranger's emotional state. You tried to duck out casually, and he pushed the issue. He obviously does view women as emotional processing machines and thought you were available for the free service. I roll if his friend was really that invested in him coming out and having a good time, he should have been the one sitting with him. You're so NTA. This guy unloads nearly a decade's worth of woes on a woman he just met, then gets bent when you try noping out of the conversation. You'd have been within your rights to tell that guy to GTFO. He needs serious therapy, like yesterday. I'm willing to bet the host had some role in setting up this scenario. This guy probably told him that you were attractive, and I wouldn't be shocked if he was the one who encouraged him to go outside and talk to you. That's the subtext I'm picking up, that the host is getting grief became you rejected his buddy like Shaq playing ball with a 5th grader. No. NTA. People who do this are weird AF. I had a friend of a friend at a party randomly start telling me about how she was raped by an ex. I've had a coworker out of the blue start talking about how he's homeless and his kids hate him and he showers at the beach's public outdoor showers. If they're not your friend then don't unload this shit on them. There's also not really a good way to respond ever. I like your way, but I'm not brave enough to say that to someone. NTA he was oversharing a lot of personal baggage from meeting someone the first time, and honestly you weren't in the wrong to suggest they should find a therapist, as those guys would definitely listen and try to offer some help. Maybe some folks might think you were too stern, but I feel like if they were in your shoes they would have reacted quite similarly.